Okay, guys, while I'm gone, you're going to hopefully practice some rational equations. Okay? I'll be back tomorrow after my doctor's appointment today. But the important thing, guys, is most of you already have this handout. If you don't, there'll be obviously a copy of it in Google Classroom along with this video, including the answer key. Okay? But anyways, let's get started here. I think we did this example in class, so I want to make sure I don't do that over again. But let's start with this number 5. Okay? So, notice that we have equation, all these crazy fractions. What do? Well, first, we focus on the denominator. We want to find a common denominator. Well, do you agree they all have a 3 in them? We call this the least common denominator. And this one has a p. So 3p is my common denominator. Okay? Basically, you piece together all the separate individual parts that each one has. So now that hopefully you understand where 3p came from, I'm going to now times every term here by 3p. Now let's see what happens. 3 over 3 is 1. I'm just left with p times 5, which is 5p, equals. Here, notice 3 and p cancel each other out to 1. I'm just left with 4. Plus, here the 3's cancel, and I'm just left with p. P times 1 is p. I'm almost done, right? All I have to do is minus p both sides. And 4p equals 4. And then I'm going to divide by 4, so p must be positive 1. That's it. So let's try it again. On this one, notice how these two have a 2 in them. So we call this our least common denominator, so we have a 2. This one has an m squared. This one has an m, which is part of m squared. And this one has an m squared. So 2m squared is my LCD. So I'm going to times by 2m squared. Let's see what happens. Here, the 2 and the m squareds cancel out. I'm just left with 1. Plus, here, the 2's cancel out. M squared over m is m, so what's 1 times m? M equals. Here, the m squareds cancel out. I have 2 times 2, which is 4. All I have to do now is minus 1. M must be 3. Let's try another one. Here, notice I have an r. Here, I also have a 5. They all had r's. These two had 5's. Put together, 5r is my LCD. So I'm going to times by 5r, 5r, 5r. Let's see what happens. Here, the r's cancel. I have 5. Now I got to distribute here. So I get 5r plus 5. Again, this 5 times r times 1, right? Here, the 5 and the r's cancel out. I'm just left with 1. So plus 1 equals. Here, the 5r's cancel out. I'm left with 4r minus 24. So let's simplify here a little bit. I have 5r. 5 and 1 is 6. I'm going to go ahead and minus 4r both sides. So r plus 6 equals minus 24. And now all I need to do is minus 6. R must equal negative 30. And let me remind you guys, please use your calculator with a negative if you need to. All right, let's keep going. How about this one here? Notice how they all have x's. And these two have a 5. 5x is my LCD. 5x, 5x, 5x. So here, the 5x will cancel out 5x. I'm just left with 3 minus, watch your signs. Here, the 5x's cancel out. I'm left with 4x. Ooh, let's be careful. Almost forgot to distribute my minus there. See that? So, with the 5x's canceling, do you agree I'm left with 4x minus 12 equals? Here, just the x's cancel, and 5 times 2 is 10. So I have 3 distributing the minus 4x plus 12 equals 10. Negative 4x, 3 plus 12 is 15 equals 10. I'm going to minus the 15. So negative 4x will equal negative 5. Hey, we actually get a fraction this time. I'm going to divide by negative 4. The negatives there cancel. So x must be 5/4. Okay, let's keep going on. Now, what are we going to do differently here, guys, is notice these denominators I've got to factor. Okay? So I'm going to do a GCF of x here. So both of these are x minus 6's. Okay? So that's the trickiness with the more tricky problems like this one, is if there's a denominator a little bit more complex, we got to recognize when we need to factor. Okay? So x squared minus 6x is x minus 6. Now, they all have an x in them. And these two have an x minus 6 in them. So this is going to be my LCD. X minus 6. X minus 6. X minus 6. So in the first fraction, notice the x's cancel. I now need to distribute here. 6x minus 36. Again, I did 6 times x, 6 times minus 6, equals. Notice here the x and the x minus 6 cancel. I'm just left with 4. Over here, x and x minus 6 cancel again. I'm just left with a plus x plus 2. If this was a minus, distribute the minus. So, 6x minus 36 equals x plus 6, or 6 plus x, right? Because 4 and 2 is 6. Now, I'm going to minus x both sides. 5x minus 36 equals 6. I'm going to add 36 to both sides. So 5x will be 42. And when I divide by 5, x is going to be 42/5. And you can leave it like that. If you divide it, of course, you can make it a decimal. All right. What is 42 divided by 5? I don't have my calculator with me, guys. So 8 times 5 is 40. 2 left over. And I add a decimal and a 0. So 8.4. 4 times 5 is 20, right? Yep. So my correct answer is 42/5, or 8.4. All right, let's try one more. Notice this and this, guys. God help you if you don't know that's the x method, okay? So here I go. I need a 12 with an 8 sum in the middle. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 plus 6 is 8. So I know that this is k plus 2, k plus 6, k plus 2, k plus 6. Now, common denominators. All of them have k plus 2. We're going to do k plus 2. This one and this one has k plus 6. We're also going to do k plus 6. So we got to do the same thing with all of them. K plus 2, k plus 6. K plus 2, k plus 6. Now, K plus 2, K plus 6 cancel. All I'm left with is K plus 1. This I crossed out, guys, because I had it factored, just like here. Minus, watch your signs, guys. So I'm going to do a parentheses, okay? K plus 2 cancels, K plus 6 cancels. All I have was a 1, so I really didn't need a parentheses this time. Equals. Here, only the K plus 2 cancels, so I have to take this 5 and distribute with K plus 6, so that's 5K plus 30. Notice here, 1 minus 1 is 0, so all I have is K equal to 5K plus 30. I'm going to minus 5K. So negative 4K equals 30. Now all I need to do is divide by negative 4. So K is 30 divided by negative 4, which is negative 30/4. If I divide by 2, reducing by 2, I get negative 15/2, or negative 7.5 as a decimal. So guys, this is a pretty solid video. I hope you agree. I hope you watch it again, take notes, pause, rewind, record it. All you need to do to get these in your notes. I recommend that you do put this in your notebook, at least some of those problems, okay? And obviously work out on the worksheet as well. I also want to remind you, you might as well make sure you add 1 or 2 of these problems to a flashcard. All right, I'll see you in class.